Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, or good afternoon, or good morning, wherever you're located. Welcome to the NUS Executive MBA information session. Next slide, please. Yeah. Okay, a little bit about myself. So you're now listening to Professor Prem Shamdasani. Prem or Prem is fine, but I'm most affectionately known as Dr. Love because the name Prem in Indian means love. So all my students and alumni prefer to call me Dr. Love, yeah, or Dr. I in China and Japan. I'm 64 years old, and I just received my 40 years of long service, teaching service award from the National University of Singapore. I'm Singaporean. I grew up here and seen the wonderful transformation of Singapore over the last 50 odd years. I'm also a graduate of the NUS Business School with first class honors in 1984. And since coming back from my PhD in marketing strategy at the Marshall School, University of Southern California, I've also seen the wonderful transformation of NUS from a predominantly teaching institution to a world-class research and teaching institution. So, and it's been a wonderful journey, both for NUS as well as for Singapore, in transforming itself not only to be one of the leading global cities, but for NUS to be one of the leading global universities. Now, with a strong focus on doing Asia. I've been the academic director for this program for the last 20 years, and I've been one of the founding faculty. We started the EMBA program 27 years ago. I also co-direct some of our executive programs, the Stanford NUS program, which is a 40-year partnership, and the director for our NUS marketing strategy in a digital world. Okay. Now, being a marketing professor at the onset, I want to be very clear what this program is all about, why you would be interested in doing this program. So about 27, 28 years ago, when we were deciding to launch an executive MBA, as you know, about 30 years ago, most business schools did not have an executive MBA program. They basically had a full-time MBA and a part-time MBA program. And the students tended to be younger, 2, 3, 5 years of work experience. And then when we started to have conversations with senior executives like yourself or entrepreneurs, we realized that a lot of midstream and advanced executives never had a chance to do an MBA early on in their careers. And after working for 10, 15, 20, 25 years, they want to come back and do an executive MBA. And that's when we realized there was a need to redesign the regular MBA program and make it a lot more suitable for busy senior executives, where the curriculum is designed to deal with current existential business issues facing senior management and how to enable and transform the leaders, the managers, to be future ready and future proof as well. So that was the whole idea. And when we were launching this program, we decided, hey, how do we differentiate ourselves? So it's very clear. There were other institutions offering the EMBA program. There was Chicago booth in Singapore. They have since moved to Hong Kong. There was the INSEAD EMBA program. And we realized that after talking to our prospective students, senior executives, there was a need for a global executive MBA program that offers deep perspectives to doing business in Asia. Okay, so doing business in Asia was an important context for many of our students who want to do this EMBA program. So the positioning is very clear. We are a global executive MBA program providing you with the latest theories, frameworks, tools, thought leadership. But we take pride in going deeper and offering you the Asia Pacific context as well, through our case studies, through our research, and through our immersion, where this program is conducted in 7 other major cities all over Asia. Okay, so then you may be asking, why Asia? Okay, it is a no-brainer these days, yeah, that Asia accounts for more than 60% of the world's GDP, comes from Asia. Okay, and Asia also accounts for more than half of the world's population. And on top of that, some of the younger demographics are in Asia, in countries like India, Indonesia, Vietnam. All this suggests there's growth, there's vibrancy, there's opportunity. So we were very clear that we want to offer deep Asian insights and perspectives to doing business. Now, then the question is, okay, what does doing business in Asia mean? So when we started to look deeper, doing business in Asia, there are two perspectives. One is, how do existing global multinationals from the West do business in Asia? The Siemens, the Philips, the GEs, the Microsofts. How are they Asianizing or localizing their products, their services, their platforms for Asia? Okay. Now that is well documented. People read about the Microsofts, the IBMs, the Oracles of this world. Now the question is, what about the emerging Asian multinationals? What is their story? What is their growth trajectory? The Chinese companies from Haier, Huawei, TCL, Lenovo, Geely. These are Chinese companies that have gone on a global trajectory. What about the Thai multinationals, the Indian multinationals? Their story is less known. Now, what is happening is, so there are two aspects that we cover in this program. How do global companies do business in Asia? And how do the Asian multinationals globalize their businesses? And where are they meeting head-on in all the global markets in Asia and in the West as well? So take, for example, if you were in a Harvard MBA program, how likely it is that the professor of strategy will talk about the competition between Grab and Gojek? Most unlikely, right? The discussion will be between Uber and Uber's competitor, Lyft, okay, in terms of the ride-sharing, ride-hailing, and mobility services, because it makes sense from the US, from the North American perspective. But in Asia, okay, the success and the competition between Gojek and Grab is critical. We live in Asia, we want to know how successful they will be. So this is an example of what I mean by the Asian context. And the Asian context in terms of development, we see a lot of emerging markets, Indonesia, India, Vietnam, Myanmar. And if you look at emerging markets, there's growth, there's opportunity. But the way we create, communicate, and deliver value through our products, services, and solutions is going to be very different. So, for example, if you Gojek many years ago decided to launch their mobile wallet, their e-wallet called GoPay. Okay, Gojek is a ride-sharing company on track to become sort of a super app like WeChat. Now, in a country at that time where 65% of Indonesians are unbanked, they don't have a bank account. So how are you going to ensure the growth of your mobile wallet payment system called GoPay? How are customers going to top up? And this is where the last mile challenges exist for global and Asian companies. And Gojek said, hey, why don't we leverage on our riders who deliver our food and other services and get them to collect cash and top up the wallets of Indonesian consumers who don't have a bank account. So that last mile solution was bridged with technology, QR, and we ensured that it was a reliable payment system. And that's where you scale. So being in Asia for the longest time, I realize, that it's not easy to do business. Even for a Thai company to go to Vietnam, it's not easy. They have to rethink their entire strategy, business model, operations, and go-to-market strategies. And that's the exciting part. Okay, so I want to say at the onset, okay, whether you're Caucasian or Asian, okay, if you want a global MBA program that is well established and that offers you not only global but also Asian perspectives and an opportunity to study and network in all the key Asian destinations, then this is the best program for you. But if you want a Eurocentric or a US-centric EMBA programs, you have a lot of choices. And I can personally recommend that to you. Okay. So what have I done? I have clearly, sort of helped to qualify how this program will add value to you and help you transform to become a better leader and manager. Okay. So this is with this understanding now, let me give you a bit more details of the program. Next slide, please. Okay. So in terms of our credentials, you can see, in the recent ranking, we are number 3 in Asia Pacific. In our executive MBA, we are number 4 in the world as a university. We are ranked number 8. And this program in the recent rankings by Financial Times, we are ranked 16. Okay. So we have clearly an established program, and we have got the credentials and the accreditation, to deliver great EMBA learning experiences as well. Next. Okay. One thing that will sort of help shape your learning experience in the NUS Executive MBA program is that we are quite blessed. We have some of the best faculties who are strong in research, in teaching. Some are practice professors who have got a lot of consulting businesses, and they bring in their consulting and applied experiences, into the teaching and the engagement as well. So you can see these are some of the faculty. We have very diverse group, very accomplished. That's myself, Prem. I teach marketing strategy in the program. I've been doing so since the start of the program. We have Vivian, who's an organizational behavior expert. Michael Jenkin, who's a people, human resource and talent expert. Susanna offers an elective on intellectual property management. Dao Lu, for example, he's an accounting professor. Emir is a finance professor. So we have a very diverse and experienced set of faculty. Some are more research focused, some are more teaching and consulting focused, and some are practitioners who we have engaged to teach in the program as well. Next slide, please. Okay, so here's some more of our faculty who will be teaching you in this program. And they all have a deep understanding, not only of their subject matter, let's say strategy or whatever, but they make it a point, to do research and contextualize in the Asian context. And that is our key differentiator, and our strength as well. Next, please. So when we designed this program, we actually asked senior executives who are enrolling in the program, how would you like this program to be structured? Do you want to come back to classes on the weekends every week, every other week, every month? And then through our research, we found that the ideal design for busy executives who work and travel quite frequently is to have a program on a quarterly basis. So every 3 months, we'll have 60 to 70 senior executives and entrepreneurs flying in, to do the program. Not only in Singapore at NUS Business School, but also all over Asia. Okay, so in this program structure, you will get a snapshot. So the program usually kicks off in May. We'll spend 9 to 13 days doing topics like marketing strategy, economic analysis, and an elective. And then there's a 3-month break. Then the group comes back in August. And in August, they don't come back to Singapore, because we will run our classes, our modules in other Asian destinations. So in August, we'll go to Indonesia and Thailand. So classes will be conducted in 5-star hotels, in Jakarta and Bangkok. And you will continue with the curriculum. So topics like managing organization, accounting and information management, and an elective. Okay, and then you take a break. So in between, and in November, we will meet in China for 7 to 11 days, and we will cover 2 cities, Shanghai and Shenzhen. And Shenzhen is amazing. It's like the startup, the Silicon Valley of China, and you get a chance to spend some time in Shenzhen and Shanghai, completing your modules, visiting best practice companies, engaging with industry leaders as well. And then you come back in February, the second year, we'll do Singapore and we'll do India. And India would be most likely either Bangalore or New Delhi. And we take a break. And then the fifth segment would be in May. In your case, will be in May 2015. And here we'll spend Singapore and Japan, where the classes are conducted in Tokyo. And our final segment will be Australia and Singapore. So as you realize, we are true to our promise that we want to offer you a great learning experience and the immersion and the networking opportunities, not only in Singapore, but because we conduct classes, in all the major destinations in Asia. And that is to your benefit. We could have easily said, hey, we can learn about doing business in China in the classrooms in Singapore. But it's nothing like the entire class all flying together with the professors, to Shanghai or to Delhi. And while you are there, you get to network, you get to visit best practice companies, Chinese companies, global companies. You get to engage in a meaningful dialogue. You get to listen to senior industry experts. Then you get a better feel for, let's say, the context of doing business in China, the context of doing business in Indonesia. So that is the philosophy by which we have designed this program, to give you that opportunity to know Asia really well. And we do that by conducting classes in all the major cities in Asia. Okay. And if you have noticed, the program is spread over 2 calendar periods. So you start in May. Let's say you're going to join in May next year, 2014. Half the program will be completed in May 2014, and the other half would be in 2015. So your journey is 15 months, spread over 6 study segments, conducted in all the major cities in Asia. Okay. Now, what I've also realized, and you can see I'm very customer-centric as I design the curriculum and engage with professors to teach you. I've realized that increasingly it's becoming more difficult for many of our senior executives to take leave, even unpaid leave. So by designing the program to be over 2 years, some of you may need to take your own personal leave, your holiday leave. It enables you to do that. You can use the leave for your first year, and you can use your leave for the second year. That way, it's not too disruptive, and you can continue to be in the program and to complete it on time. So that is one reason why we have staggered the program over 2 calendar periods. Okay. So there was a lot of thought given to this design, and the fact that travel is mandatory. Okay, so 7 or 8 out of your 12 weeks will be spent, taking modules, networking, visiting best practice companies, listening to industry leaders in all the key cities. And we are proud of that. Okay, so if you do join the program, you have to travel with the program. The professors and the students will fly to all these different locations. Okay, now, next slide. Okay. Now, what we have done to your benefit, in the early years of this program, we had only core electives. So everyone took 18 modules. Okay. There was no choice given to electives. Then after receiving feedback in the last few years, some of our students say, look, we want to have some special topics that we feel will benefit us. So, for example, special topics like service management, as many Asian economies pivot from manufacturing to service, the use of AI, futures thinking, scenario planning, IP management, Asian family business. So the current program, if you join this, you will have core courses which will provide you with the fundamentals, and you have an opportunity to take elective courses that are in the areas of digital transformation, AI, analytics, innovation, and ESG. Okay. And also, one thing I want to highlight is that this is a blended program. So although most 75% of your learning will happen face-to-face when you travel to all these different destinations, but 25% of your learning will happen online. either virtually, virtually, synchronously or asynchronously. So the reason we felt is that before we meet face to face, you should get to meet the professors who are teaching your course a month before, and also your classmates a month before, and your group mates, because there are a lot of group projects. So this is a blended learning program where 25% of your learning will take place online and 75% will take place face to face in different locations in Asia Pacific. And you have the option to do electives as well. Okay. And like I said, there's a lot of flexibility. The tenure for this program is 6 years. That means on paper, you have 6 years to complete the program, but don't take 6 years. Okay. We prefer that you start with your batch, your group, okay, finish the journey together, because the kind of friendships you will develop, the kind of camaraderie that you will develop, is priceless. Okay. So if you start with this class and you end with this class, or 50 or 60, the kind of engagement and interactions and the friendships you'll have will last a lifetime. And that is an intangible value of this program as well. Okay. In addition to that, we'll have many alumni activities so you can network across cohorts, and also with our sister programs like the Chinese Executive MBA or the UCLA Executive MBA. Okay. So that's in terms of the program design, structure, core curriculum, electives, and the blended learning format. All right. So let me proceed to the next slide. Okay. One thing that we are very proud of, the program office and the faculty, we take pride in integrating various company visits wherever we travel to. Okay. This is just an example of the companies visits that we have organized in all the key locations in Asia. Okay. Now you may say, is it just a visit and listening to the leadership? No. We go in, we listen, we have a conversation with the CEO, we visit their operations, their manufacturing, their services, we have a Q&A and a dialogue. Okay. And I'm telling you from experience, the kind of insights you get from company visits and the dialogue, it's amazing, which you don't get in published material. So I give you one example. Okay. I remember about 6 years ago, I took my class of 50 plus to visit Panasonic factory in Gurgaon in India. It was like an hour and a half drive from our hotel in Gurgaon. Okay. When we visited Panasonic, we were hosted by the CEO of Panasonic in India. He's a Japanese gentleman. His name is Ito-san. Okay. So he talked about Panasonic strategy, how Panasonic entered India, failed miserably, exited India, and then came back after a few years because Panasonic realized that India is a market that's too attractive. Even though it's difficult to do business in India, they cannot give up on India. So Panasonic came back and invested in manufacturing and other things, in channels and in marketing. And then during the conversation with the CEO, Ito-san, he gave us some very interesting insights. He told me, Prem, Dr. Love, and the students, when we entered India, we realized we needed to build our brand, from an early stage of the consumer's life cycle, meaning that we ask ourselves, which is the first device Indian consumers will purchase? And the answer is, of course, a mobile phone. But problem was, Panasonic no longer made mobile phones. They exited the business years before because they couldn't compete with Samsung, with LG, with Apple, with the Chinese brands like Huawei, like Oppo, like Vivo, like OnePlus. So against all odds, against the instructions of Japan's Panasonic HQ, Panasonic India decided to launch mobile phones. Okay. In addition to, of course, the main products are selling air conditioners, refrigerators, and other things, appliances, white goods. So during the Q&A, we realized that the Panasonic mobile phones was key to building the brand yeah, in the minds and hearts of Indian consumers at an early stage. And when the Indian consumers mature and they're moving homes or they're starting a family, Panasonic brand will be one of the brands in their consideration set. So what a brilliant idea that, hey, Indian consumers only buy appliances later on in their life cycle. But how do we build our brand at an earlier stage? So against all odds, Panasonic launched mobile phones in India, not to make money from this business, but from the benefits of branding. And the case study of Panasonic in India was so successful. Panasonic is replicating this strategy of introducing mobile phones in other emerging markets to build brand awareness and preference at an earlier stage. Now, these kind of insights are not documented anywhere. But through this immersive learning, visiting companies, having that meaningful dialogue, you learn a lot of additional insights. And the takeaways are great. Okay. So there are many stories I can tell because I've organized hundreds of visits in the last 26 years. And I myself and my students have learned a lot, in addition to classroom learning, in addition to guest speakers from the industry, going personally to these companies, seeing their operations, having that dialogue, even challenging their strategies in the local or context, yeah, are all very good learning points. Right? So that's why when we travel to all the key locations in Asia, we make visits also mandatory and it's integrated to the modules that you are taking in those countries and cities as well. Right? Let's go next. Okay. The other thing that we offer and is that NUS Business School is the only Singapore-based school that is part of GNAM, a Global Network for Advanced Management, okay, which includes UC Berkeley, Fudan, HEC, Oxford. So what does it mean? Through these partnerships, you can actually take courses, modules, yeah, in these universities as well, who are our partners. So it's like going on an exchange program, which we offer to our undergrad and full-time MBA. And some of our students have availed themselves of these exchange opportunities and get an opportunity to do a module with Oxford, with Yale, with Berkeley. And that opens up your horizons, your networks as well. So NUS offers you this opportunity as well in the program to take exchange modules with some of our leading partners, okay, that are listed on the slide as well. Next, please. Yeah. Okay. Now, so in the early part, the way we've organized it is that it's every 3 months, everybody flies in to different locations to do their modules, their courses. And to help you prepare, we sent you the materials, and most of it is online, digital. So you can access books, you can access reading materials, case studies, research, all online in the portal. So you start preparing while in between segments, you start preparing for classes for the next segment. And there's a pre-segment virtual class. So you get to meet the faculty, they introduce the module, they talk about what is expected out of the course. They give you, you attend 1 or 2 lectures. Some are recorded, some are live. So that way, when you meet the professors face to face, you already know the professor, you already know what the professor will be teaching you, what concepts, what tools. You will already be divided into project groups. So you can start engaging with your project groups. And then when you meet face to face, yeah, you go head on. And that's when the intensity comes in. So basically, the EMBA, in this EMBA program, unlike a normal MBA program where you have 13 weeks of classes, every week you do 3 hours. But because we compacted, we intensified it, you finish an entire class in 4 days. And you're giving 36 to 39 hours of that. So the intensity enables you to finish a module, yeah, in 4 days, versus in a typical MBA program where you do it for 13 weeks. And by offering this intensified curriculum, yeah, our students love it because they finish an entire module in 4 days. And then they move on to the next module. And they're already engaged in the material before they meet face to face. Okay? So these are the benefits of the program. So every 3 months you meet in Singapore and 7 other locations, and the pre-work starts 1 month before you actually come face to face. Okay, so the professors will meet you online, conduct live sessions, lectures with you, give you pre-recorded materials, and get you started on project. As I said, if you join my program, you will realize easily about 50% of your learning will come from your peers, from your peer learning and sharing and your group work. And I feel that's very important. Okay, we expect to get 60 or 70 students in the next intake. And they have an average of 18 to 20 years of experience. What does it mean? In every class that we conduct, we have over 1,000 years of experience across 25, 30 industries. We will have chairmen of companies, CEOs, we have doctors, lawyers, PhDs, engineers, IT professionals. We have people from very different disciplines coming together. And during the group work is when you realize how a doctor thinks about a business problem is very different from a lawyer, from an engineer, from an IT professional. And this is where the learning happens. And from day one, okay, if you meet me on the first day of the program, the first words that will come out from my mouth is, please leave your egos outside the classroom. I tell every student that joins this program, there's no room for ego. Leave it outside the classroom. So what, you are the CEO of a company. In this class, everyone is equal. Everyone is here to learn from the professor and from each other. So I create a culture where we value peer learning and peer sharing and peer engagement. Okay? And once you have that mindset, once you leave your ego aside, you will be amazed how much you are learning from everybody and how rich the conversations will be. Okay? So that is the culture that I have created in our program. Okay? Next, please. Okay? So just to give you an idea, most of our participants come from the region. Yeah, about 60%. Rightly so, because they are doing business in China, India, they're expats or Asians living and working around Asia Pacific. 20% are Singaporeans and expats living and working out of Singapore. As you know, Singapore is a regional hub for many global companies. And then, of course, we do get people from Africa, America, Europe, and Middle East. The average experience of our class is about 17 years. Average age is about 40, but we get people from their early 30s to their 60s as well. Okay? So very good. And the female representation is about 30%. We are working very hard to improve the gender diversity in the group. Not because my name is Dr. Love and I want to have more women in the room. No. I believe that women leaders and managers, have a different lens to business issues in terms of leading, managing, communicating, and engaging. So I've seen in classes where there's a good representation, the conversations are richer because you get the perspective of women leaders as well as their male counterparts and how they are helping to transform and grow their organization. So it has been the program's mission to increase not only gender diversity, but cultural diversity, geographical diversity, and industry diversity. Okay. Our class sizes are currently about 55, and we have a good representation in terms of nationalities. Okay. Next, please. Okay. In terms of industry representation, the biggest group of participants come from information technology, then manufacturing, industrial, banking, financial services, healthcare, pharma, energy business, oil and gas, and many, many others like telecommunications and whatnot. And our profile is quite senior because if you compare all the global MBA programs, our participants tend to be more mature and more senior. That means they have a lot more experience. Yeah, other MBA programs tend to have a younger cohort. So since we started the program, we were very true to the objective that we want to encourage senior, experienced executives and entrepreneurs, yeah, into that program, because with their knowledge and with shaped by our faculty's thought leadership, yeah, and frameworks, the conversations, the discussions, the learning becomes a lot more richer, and it benefits everyone. Okay. But honestly, you can see the diversity of designations. It doesn't matter. Okay. I remember one year I had a guy in one of after my information session gives me a card and says, Prem or Dr. Love, oh, this is my card. I'm co-founder, chairman, president of of my company. And I never heard of that company. So I asked him politely, how many people in your company? He said, only two of us, me and my wife. Then I said, your designation doesn't matter. What we are looking for in admitting you into the program is to look at your career trajectory and how this program can help you accelerate after you graduate. So we are not really looking at titles, but we're looking at the quality of your work experience and your professional trajectory. Okay, next, please. Okay, so we tend to look for, yes, candidates who have at least 10 years of work experience, at least a bachelor's degree. But we get people with double MBAs, PhDs, multiple degrees. Now, on very rare occasions, we can make an exception. If you do not have a degree, but you have a professional qualification, yeah, like in accounting or finance, yeah, or even a polytechnic degree from an established polytechnic. Okay. And I tell you this because on rare situations, and one of the first intake of this program 26 years ago, intake one of the NUS EMBA, okay, I was interviewing the co-founder of Singapore's first global startup, a company some of you may know. It's called Creative Technology or Creative Lab. And this was the first Singapore startup that listed on NASDAQ. And when I was interviewing the co-founder, Ng Kai Wah, he apologized. He said, Dr. Love, Dr. Prem, I don't have a degree. I have two professional diplomas in engineering. Okay? And we made an exception because we are proud that he was the co-founder of Singapore's first startup that listed on NASDAQ and created a global product in sound cards, dominated that industry with over 60% market share. I said, your fellow classmates can learn a lot from you. Okay, so on rare exceptions, we may consider people who do not have degrees but have professional qualifications. Okay, but almost 99% of our students have degrees, some have multiple degrees, some have PhDs. And the thing is, what do we look for? Okay, so one of our recent graduates was a doctor. When he applied to the program, he was about 48 years old. He's a head and neck cancer surgeon working for Singapore General Hospital, one of our leading hospitals. So during the interview, I asked him, his name is Dr. Tan. I said, Dr. Tan, why you were doing an EMBA? You have such a lucrative career as a cancer surgeon. He said, after a while, as I get older, I won't be able to do surgery. So I said, what are you going to do the EMBA for? What do you want to get out of it? He said, I want to transition. I want to move from clinical practice to a leadership role. My dream after the EMBA is to be a deputy, to be a CEO of my hospital. And true enough, yeah, 2.5 years after graduation, this head and neck cancer surgeon is now deputy CEO. He comes from a strong clinical practice and surgical foundation, and now he's going to lead his hospital. So what I'm saying is, when you come to do an EMBA, you must be very clear what kind of outcomes you're looking for. Okay, don't do it as a paper chase. It's nice to have. The EMBA will come at a great expense, investment of your time, resources, and we want to make sure that you're coming in for the right reason. 5 years ago, I had a PhD, EMBA applicant who had a PhD, and she is a Chinese applicant doing lab work for GSK in molecular research. And after 10 years in the lab, she said, look, I've hit a ceiling and I want to move into leadership roles. So she did a EMBA so that she could move on to leadership roles and move out of the lab. So you get all kinds of applicants, and over 75% of our EMBA applicants and students do not come from business backgrounds. They are doctors, lawyers, scientists, engineers, IT professionals, okay? And they are either in middle management or in senior management. Okay? So we look at your profile. If you're not too sure, you can also share your CV, yeah? And we can immediately tell, I'll save you your application time and fees and tell you whether with your qualification you are suitable to apply. That much we will do for you, okay? So that you don't have to go through the whole effort of paying registration fees and application and whatnot, okay? Next, please. Okay, so we're almost at the end. So you can see here the program fee is about 129,000 with GST, about 96,000 US dollars. Okay, and we allow payment through installments. So you can see the payment schedule on the right. And for those who are NUS alumni, yeah, if you graduated from NUS, you get a $10,000 alumni grant for your loyalty, okay? So that helps you to offset the fee as well. And as you can see, because this program travels to 7 other cities, you need to also budget for accommodation and airfare, okay? Because you'll be spending at least 7 weeks abroad in all the different locations where we conduct our classes. So you need to budget for hotels and airfare. Of course, this is sort of a baseline estimate. Now, if you stay in nice 5-star hotels, yeah, and you travel business class, then you need to triple your budget, yeah. But all things said and done, we have kept the program pricing, the fees, very affordable because we want to attract a lot more applicants from the ASEAN region as well, who are challenged by affordability. The average program in North America, a good EMBA program, will set you back 200,000 US, excluding travel and accommodation. So at 96,000, we are very attractively priced and we give tremendous value and we make this EMBA program accessible to many Asian students and participants as well. Okay, next please. Okay. We also have created scholarship opportunities. So if you qualify, you can get up to 30% of the tuition fee in scholarships. And this is only available to people who are not sponsored by their companies. Okay, those who are sponsored by their companies cannot apply for scholarships because we rather give opportunities to deserving applicants, okay, who need the financial assistance. So and we have created categories to make sure that the distribution of scholarship, yeah, is inclusive. So for example, we have scholarship for women, we have an entrepreneurship scholarship, we have an ESG scholarship, we have a leadership scholarship, and we have a diversity scholarship. So we are mindful that we want to attract diversity, and the allocation of scholarship awards should also reflect that, not in terms of gender, minority, ESG, and whatnot. Okay, and it's quite competitive to get the scholarship, but if you feel you want to apply for the scholarship, you can do so with your application. Okay, and it's all clearly mentioned. Okay, how the scholarship thing works. All right. Next. So I would encourage you, if you feel that this is the program for you, yeah, to apply early. If you apply before 1st December, the application fee of $200 is waived, and you can still apply for scholarship, yeah, if you need to. The second deadline is in 15 Feb. There you have to pay the fee of $200, but you can still apply for scholarship. Okay. Like I said, I've already interviewed many candidates who decided to apply early. So we don't wait till all the applications come in February. We have been admitting people on a rolling basis. That means once your application is complete, my colleague Megan, and another colleague Swen will shortlist you for interviews. Myself and another colleague will interview you, submit our interview recommendations to a selection panel, and within 2 weeks, we will let you know whether you have admission into the program. Okay? In that way, it'll save you time. You don't have to have the anxiety of waiting till February next year to find out whether you've been admitted or not. And if you're not admitted, it also gives you an opportunity to apply to other programs, should you choose. All right? So we are very customer-centric in that way. Okay? We roll over the admissions. We inform you within 2 weeks. Yeah? And also give you the opportunity to explore other programs should you not get admission to the NUS program. And as I mentioned a few minutes earlier, if you're unsure, okay, you can always send your CV to that email address in this slide. You can attention it to Megan, okay, my senior manager at ember@nus.edu.sg, and we will quickly review your CV, and then we will reply to you whether we encourage you to apply or not to apply. Okay, in that way, if you're not really suitable for the program, we'll tell you outright, don't apply. Okay, it will save you application fee and the time to do the application.